Hey guys. All right. So I am going to talk about the whole process of going no contact for me and what that was like. Just because I was chatting a little bit with Chicken Soup Bowl. She's one of my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, of course. And she was talking about how moving forward, there's a chance that she and her boyfriend might go no contact with his BPD mom. And so I've done that. That was a necessary step as a part of my recovery. So I wanted to talk about what were some of the things that I had to have in place in order for that to happen. Because the thing that I think is really important about going no contact is that you make it that when you do it, you really do follow through. That is a huge part of your recovery. The thing is, to go no contact, that's a huge deal. I mean, that's basically a divorce. And I think that you have to have really a sense of what you're doing and a real sense of preparing yourself so that you don't get sucked back into the drama. Because that's the one thing that you guys, we all know when it comes to a BPD personality, they don't let go lightly ever. Abandonment is the number one fear that they have. And so, when you plan to go no contact, you can expect that the claws are going to come out. and they did with my situation. And that's very common. And so anyway, so I think you have to be prepared. So here's my few things that I knew I needed to be prepared in order to go no contact. First off was I needed to first work on my own flaws in the relationship. Like I couldn't go no contact unless I made sure that I'd really given the relationship as big of a shot as possible. It's so, one of the things so a few different things, I used to criticize her, and instead what I learned was to develop, my ability to accept her and not be so critical. I was bitter at her for, of course, most of my life. So I really needed to have that sense of forgiving her and peace about her. And then also, I was also really good at trying to fix my family. And what I had to do was learn to, again, just to let it go and to let all the flaws go and go, this is what it is. And so, yeah, acceptance was definitely the next part of it. I needed to accept that she was BPD and that she won't ever change. As much as I would love to believe that, the change is 100% her responsibility, not mine. I will never motivate her ever to change. And so, I had to stop. I had to just really accept then at that point that she was an emotionally ill person. We talk about being physically ill, mentally ill. My mom is emotionally ill, and I needed to be able to accept that about her and treat her that way. And that led into me then learning skills on how to be around her. Which I did for a few years, like avoiding certain topics that I know could trigger her raging. For me to leave, because I actually live 1,000 miles from my family. So I would leave when the trip was good, like on a good note, like when things were great. So I always made sure my trips were short so that we would have a great time. And then, I gotta go, and then I would also genuinely compliment her, on things that I thought she was great at or things that she did well and stuff like that. Because the thing that I think is really important in order to be able to go, when you're even deciding to go no contact, is to, that you have to have some ability to love them where they are. I think that's really important, that you can, I can appreciate what my mom taught me. There's so many things that my mom taught me that was just really great and beautiful and wonderful. She really was, she's definitely a caring person, and she definitely tries her best, at everything. And, she does want, I think, what's best for other people on some level and such. So, I could always appreciate the fact that during those good years that we had, that she and I could have a polite relationship, that when I would call, because I used to call like on a weekly basis, because I have a bunch of younger siblings and I would always want to know how they're doing and stuff. And, it was good because I could have polite conversations with her. We could talk about the weather. We could talk about, the siblings a little bit. I had to be careful what I talked about with her on that stuff, but we could be polite. And also too, I can also appreciate the fact that she was trying. She wasn't this, I don't think of my mom as this evil villain. I think of her as an emotionally ill person who, refuses to seek treatment, like real treatment. But she was trying in the ways that she could. So, and I think I also needed to also learn to not take her so personally. But yet at the same time, I still am responsible for my personal self. And so anyway, and as I got healthier and as I worked through these things, like, there came a point, and I'm going to explain this in my next video, of when I realized, like, I couldn't have her in my life anymore. Because I needed to acknowledge that, that it was abusive, and that I had options, that I had the choice to either stay or not, and I had to recognize that I could not fully inhabit myself if I allowed the abuse to continue. I think that's super huge. And then I think the other piece that I really had to, a couple other pieces I had to do was, one is I had to surround myself then with loving, moms and dads. I'm very fortunate. I've lived in my city for long enough now where I do have a good, handful of people who love me. They're older. They're like my parents, and they really do speak into my life, which is great. They'll never be able to replace my parents. I mean, that's just not possible. But but they, I'll call them and tell them if I did something great, and they'll go, "Oh, I'm proud of you." Like, it's so sweet. And, and I have places to go generally for, for the holidays and stuff like that too, And I think the last thing I also needed to do in order to actually be ready to go no contact was I needed to accept that there were going to be harsh, life-changing consequences to going no contact. Because I think we all know a borderline isn't just one person, it's a whole family system problem. And so I knew that when I severed ties with her, it would affect every relationship basically in my family, especially because I'm the oldest and really nobody else in my family has actually gotten out of the whole thing. So it definitely affected every relationship and such that I had. So, and I needed to know that ahead of time and really just be able to go, you know what, it's going to be hard. It's going to suck, but it's going to be okay. And, so anyways, I'm going to actually in my next video talk about the whole thing and how it happened, how the whole drama happened. Yay.